How will the MPP learn from these primaries? I mean, going into your primaries in November.
I don't think there's anything we are going to learn from what NDC has done.
I don't think there's any positive
Well,
to add to your arrangements.
There's nothing to learn from there. We must just be careful that when we do ours, our brothers in the NDC too come and commend us for having done a good job. So that is what we have to do. What we need to do, we know very well. The way people have accused executives, our executives at all levels should also learn that some actions and inactions by some or the other might give others a perception that there may be some biases here or there. These are the kind of things people should learn from. You know, the way some of the candidates conducted themselves. Candidates in our party too will also review it and look at the same way even among the NDC themselves. Going into the national election, many of them were going to review the way they themselves conducted themselves in their internal elections to advise them in the national election. So as for these things, when it comes in politics, we all take a cue and advise ourselves accordingly. You know, because every situation is different. The dynamics are different. The issues about 2020 election are not going to be the same as the issues of 2024 election. The issues of the primaries being held this year are not the same as the issues being that influenced the primaries 4 years ago, whether it's NDC or MPP. So these are the things that every politician will have to. And of course, even the supporters and campaign team members and managers have to be aware of, so that they put their best foot forward in marketing their various candidates. And at the end of the day, what we all expect to see is that there's no problem. NDC, they had some pockets of confusion. I hope we don't have any pocket of any confusion at all.
And that cannot be avoidable.
Why can it not be avoidable?
Because
it's avoidable.
People will rise about campaigns and all of that. It's happening. I mean,
no, but tempers, we come and see the other time. Don't tempers rise? Do we go beyond that? That's all.
Let's talk about candidates. I mean, they've lost 17 of their MPs.
Every single person who contested for a parliamentary seat or parliamentary candidate seat, whether they were a sitting member of parliament or an incoming aspirant, knew that there was one outcome. There was only one definite outcome. And that definite outcome was that one person was going to win. What none of them was sure about was whether to be them. Everybody believed they will win, but nobody could be so sure.
But it raises issue of quality.
Oh, as for quality, you see, quality is another matter. One man's quality is another man's inequality. So the delegates will determine who they want to represent them. Your view on quality is different. For them, they have elected will let the people appreciate that this is our best candidate. And if they're able to convince the people, they'll get the best candidate. That's how it is.
Opinion. Did the NDC impress you with their primaries?
Good morning. First of all, may I take this opportunity to announce, and I'm sure people have heard, the passing of one of the Council of Elders of the CPP, Mrs. Ameto Williams, Ato Williams' mother. The funeral will be held in Ada tomorrow. Yes.
It starts tomorrow. It's on Saturday.
Yes, on Saturday. Yes, starts tomorrow on Saturday. Ato Williams is an MPP. I can call him a stalwart. He's a very good friend of mine. But his mother is CPP. And that goes to show you how in Ghana politics is interconnected. And sometimes there are things that we should try not to portray as if we are loggerheads. definitely, we all learn from each other. The UP tradition learn from the CPP tradition, the CPP tradition learn from the UP tradition. In these modern days, the NDC would learn from the MPP, the MPP would learn from the NDC, and it builds the democracy. Because to the general public, we like to show that we're loggerheads, but in the backyard, we are together. So I'm sure the MPP will learn something from the NDC.
You believe they will?
Yes, of course. I mean, some of the things that went on, they would have a look at it and make sure it doesn't happen in theirs. And even if there's a likelihood of it happening, they now can see and rectify things before their election. Well, there are quite a number of things. The way delegates handle themselves, this question of monocracy, there's so many things. But you know, it's we should look at it as a progression whereby we learn from each other and move our democracy forward. So I beg to differ with Philip if he says they won't learn anything. They would learn something from it. And I'm sure we all take notes when such things happen. I'm sure we take notes when the MPP have their election. I'm sure we take notes when we have ours. So it's a growing thing because this year we'll have the flag bearership first before the parliamentary. And remember, there are young people who are also getting into politics, and definitely right now with social media and some of the new things that have come up, they would learn and see how they conduct themselves when they are in that position. They would learn and see what it takes to stand as a parliamentary candidates. They would learn even the comments and interviews of, parliamentarians, those vying and those sitting. It says something. It tells something. Their body language, their mannerisms, the kind of words they use. So we all learn all the time. We just hope that it's a plus to the building of our democracy. With the NDC elections, I think one of the major things was the Dufuor situation, where he decided to pull out.
That's his pulling out, making it free and fair elections.
That was his decision. That was his decision. But the question was asked, why didn't you then ask your son to pull out if you felt there wasn't the right documentation? It doesn't make decision for his son, but it's a family. He went to support his son, didn't he?
Yeah.
You think they won't discuss it? If you were standing and your father was standing, wouldn't you discuss it with your father? Wouldn't you discuss strategy with your father?
Your father's aspirations are different from your aspirations, your personal aspirations.
You've given the example of Atu and his mom.
Is it all not but the same party? The same party. Is it all politics?
Two different individuals.
It's not politics. The fact that two individuals doesn't mean father and son won't sit and talk about it. Come on.
But maybe he doesn't have that major say in the final decision of the son. So you can discuss, you can suggest something to him, but as to whether he will accept and use it, it's his own prerogative.
I don't think so. I don't think so. My father was a strong politician in this country. When I went into the CPP, he sat me down and he discussed things with me, brought old, new, future, and then I use it to guide my decision. But I won't say, if my father told me something, I'll ignore it completely. Yes, I used to have serious arguments with him, with regards especially when, my good friend Ivor Greenstreet stood as flag bearer. I had serious arguments with him, because he didn't feel that because of Ivor's condition, he would be an effective flag bearer, and I disagreed with him. I had serious arguments, and we begged to differ on it, and we moved forward. So I don't see how, and Dufuor is close to his son, and his son is close to him. So I don't see how. He went to his constituency to support him, didn't he?
I think he votes.
Yes, he went to support him, and when they asked him why he was there, was he coming to oversee the election? He says no, he's there because of his son. So I don't see how that won't make a...
It could also be for his son's constituency. There was no discrepancies with the delegates list. because he was national and he had issues with some of the constituencies, not all the constituencies, because he was given 220 initially, which he said he found those discrepancies in the list that he was given. So it is also possible. I'm not trying to jam the gun, but it could also be possible that there was no issue with that constituency.
It could be. It could be. It could be. But what I was further expecting, when Dr. Dufuor raised the issues, I was expecting that all the three flag bearers, if for nothing at all, would sit and see how true it was, so that it's a unified thing, so that if it's true, then something can be done about it. But in reading, and I don't want to insinuate, I don't want to insinuate, but it was quite poignant to me. In reading former President Mohammed's acceptance speech, in the introduction, he congratulates, he thanks Council of Members, executives and all that. And then when he comes to thanking the executives, he thanks the chairman, but mentions the chairman's name. He didn't mention anybody else, but mentioned Asiedu Nketia, chairman of the NDC. Why wouldn't he mention the chairman of the Council of Elders? Because the chairman of the Council of Elders, I understand, did quite a lot of work with regards to Dufuor taking this situation out of court, and also trying to bring calm within the NDC. So I thought, if for nothing at all, we mention everybody's name, but Odi Asiedu Nketia, well, he knows why he did that. And so it went peaceful, and for me that was the great thing for me, that it went peaceful. It was a peaceful election. Yeah, there were some argy-bargies in some of the constituencies, but it wasn't anything that the, couldn't handle, the security couldn't handle.